You were once the know-it-all kid. In every parent-teacher meeting, your name was the one that brought the biggest pride to your parents. You didn't have to try very hard to get top marks, while your classmates struggled just to keep up. Everyone around you kept saying the same thing, that you had infinite potential. But now, as an adult, you quietly feel like a failure. You hesitate to start anything new, because deep down, you're terrified that you won't be perfect right from the beginning. You procrastinate until the last possible moment, not because you're lazy, but because the heavy weight of those old expectations has completely paralyzed your mind. If this description feels painfully familiar, then you are likely experiencing what we call gifted kid burnout. This is not a sign that you've lost your ability. It is a sophisticated psychological defense mechanism. Your brain was wired in a very specific way during childhood, and that same wiring is now working against you in adult life. Today, we're going to dive deep into why being labeled as the smart kid has become your heaviest burden as an adult. Why do so many high-achieving children eventually burn out? The core reason lies in the fundamental conflict between two different ways of thinking. Most school systems are designed almost entirely around convergent thinking, finding the one single correct answer as quickly and efficiently as possible. Gifted children master this game very early. But real deep intelligence is actually rooted in divergent thinking. The freedom to see countless unusual connections, to ask endless questions, and to explore ideas that don't have one right answer. When you spend years forcing your brain to only converge, to suppress your natural curiosity just to keep your perfect student image, your mind has to work incredibly hard to shut down your own creativity and emotions. This constant internal conflict, this structural mismatch, becomes the hidden seed of long-term exhaustion. There's another layer that few people talk about: traumatic intelligence. Many gifted children didn't become perceptive because they loved learning, but because they had to. You learn to read the room, to sense tension, to predict people's moods, simply to feel emotionally safe. Your nervous system became hypervigilant, always scanning for the smallest signals. You grew fiercely independent because depending on others felt dangerous. You solved problems alone, in silence. As an adult, that same self-sufficiency has turned into a prison. You struggle to ask for help, because even the thought of admitting "I don't know" triggers your amygdala like a survival threat. When you face a challenging task, your brain often falls into endless rumination. You mentally rehearse every possible way it could go wrong before you even begin. Ironically, just thinking about the problem gives your brain small hits of dopamine, creating a false sense of progress. So you end up feeling completely drained, even though you've done almost nothing. Even small interruptions, a phone notification, an unexpected message, can trigger fight or flight, because your mind perceives any new demand as walking into a room with no exit. You'd rather let your potential stay dormant than risk discovering that you're no longer the gifted person everyone once believed you were. Here is the most important truth: the grand payoff. Understanding exactly how your brain was shaped is the first real step toward working with it instead of constantly fighting against it. You do not owe the world perfection. The label "gifted kid" belongs to the past. It is not a life sentence, and it does not define the limits of who you can still become. Start practicing setting boundaries without feeling guilty. Give yourself permission to be a beginner again, to be clumsy, to learn slowly, to be an apprentice rather than a burnt-out expert. Your inner restlessness is not a flaw. It is the quiet seed of potential that has been waiting to grow on your own terms. So, were you a gifted kid who now feels burned out? Which part of this resonated with you the most? Share your experience in the comments. Your story might help someone else feel less alone. If this video brought you some clarity, please give it a like and subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and most importantly, remember to protect your peace.